Well, this is Hollywood Vine, where the stars dine and wine.
Hollywood and Vine was the place to be on the West Coast. It was the place to see and be seen if you were a star, a tourist, a wannabe star.
The Vine Street Brown Derby was, and that was a magnificent building on Vine Street, because that was really the center of where everybody kind of congregated.
Little by little, you see movie companies are starting to come into this residential neighborhood. And the Lasky Company, only a block south, really, of Hollywood and Vine, started to create this movie center, along with the business center.
Well, the Lux Soap, the sponsor, all these shows were run by the sponsors. The Lux would say, we want to have a show, so they thought, well, let's do the mini versions of movies. So they actually thought, well, what would be really good is get somebody like Cecil B. DeMille. So they essentially hired him, and he was the figurehead of the show.
Hollywood and Vine is this hub, and it's growing all of the businesses and ancillary services and lawyers and agencies which make Hollywood what it was and what it still is today.
Hollywood was a farming community. The first settlers were all German and Danish farmers, so there are wheat farms and stuff like that. So when they finally finished the railroad, people came to Los Angeles with the intent of making money in real estate. So the first people who came out here to settle Hollywood, name Hollywood, was Data Wilcox and her husband Harvey Wilcox.
Hollywood and Vine was sort of like the production hub, if you want to call it in a way, of Hollywood, and the business end, the part that people don't see. And the nice thing about radio is you have to paint pictures with words. You don't have a visual image. So to place themselves to people, they would announce, we're coming to you from Hollywood and Vine. Once people started hearing that, and then you're reading in the trade papers, Paramount's across the street, stars appearing, Plaza Hotel, so-and-so is staying at the Plaza Hotel. The Brown Derby, stars going there, you're drawn to those locations.
Capitol Records was the radio days in the 40s. One of the early inhabitants of Hollywood was a guy named Glenn Wallach. When the radio days came, they opened a record store called Music City at the corner of Sunset and Vine. And from there, Glenn Wallach decided to start a recording company, and he had Buddy DeSilva and Johnny Mercer, and they formed a partnership, and they created Capitol Records. And those were great days, because Capitol Records had their offices right above Music City, which was the record store. Music City innovated self-serve records.
Studios are starting to become more of a big business. Once you get a major film studio there, other businesses are going to follow suit because they want to have access to those stars. So radio starts coming. You've got the business offices there, so the radio agents can have their offices. And so it becomes its own little skyscraper village in a way.
This was the heart of it. This was the birthplace of the professionalism of what Hollywood became to be as Hollywood and Vine.
This is William Keighley saying good night to you from Hollywood.